As a victim of, hold on, let me get my place, hold on. Victim of SA, but I did not identify a specific perpetrator. Tectone then made a threat to post revenge materials of me he obtained in the past. He also consistently live streamed and posted rants claiming I am attempting to publicly post text, conversations, videos, etc. between him and I online. I worked with an attorney to have Tectone served of a cease and desist on January 24, 2025. Despite this, Tectone continued to make posts about me on X and Twitch. He even live streamed on Twitch on and around February 6, 2025, where he called me a liar and threatened to sue me. I have not heard directly from Tectone since November 22nd, 2024, but his frequent posts online insulting and threatening me have continued to this present day. This includes the comment he made on Twitch stream on May 12, 2025, where he said he would go nuclear when the legal involvement between him and I ends. I'm just gonna skip this part. Every day I'm afraid Tectone will act on his threats to post intimate videos or photos of me, and I fear he won't ever stop posting things about me online. Tectone knows where I live, and I'm concerned that if he becomes angry enough, he'll show up to my home unannounced to hurt me. For my safety, I want Tectone away from me. So, let me see what this is real quick here. So this is the stalking protective order. I'm going to read this real quick. This is basically the court issuing the protective order after the trial, ruling that they do believe there is reason to issue a protection order. So this states stalking protective order. In lieu of finding that family violence occurred, the court finds the probable cause exists to believe that respondent committed an offense under section 42.072 Penal Code, stalking in the nature of scheme or course of conduct engaged in the respondent, and committing the offense indicates the respondent is likely to future engage in conduct prohibited by this section. Therefore, the court grants the application and enters this protective order against respondent. So the court here is basically saying that they do see Tectone as stalking Pinky Chew, to the best of my understanding, and they're issuing a protective order in order to protect her from future communications or possible harassment / stalking from Tectone. Some of the conditions of the order: he's not allowed to talk to her in any way, shape, or form, which includes phone calls, emails, text messages, or any kind of social media. He was also forced to relinquish his firearms, which is pretty much public information by this point. Everybody knows that. He's also not to disseminate, reproduce, or share any kind of video, electronic or digital media that is a recording of the applicant or displays an image of the applicant, which is Pinky Chew. And then there's just a picture of the firearm affidavit, which we already went over. It just means he's not allowed to own firearms or have any ammunition in his possession or in his residence. Hold on. Sorry, I gotta check my notes. Lots of notes here. Immediately following the verdict of the court, Tectone came out saying, "Guys, real quick, let me correct something. Some things I see being said about me. I wasn't convicted of a crime. I wasn't involved in a criminal proceeding. No, I'm not going to jail. Guys, this was a civil hearing of a significantly lower standard of proof than a criminal proceeding. Give me a bit. I gotta finish a couple of things and we'll talk about it. Appreciate y'all." Which is true. This wasn't a criminal case. But if he does violate, this is the key point here, to the best of my knowledge, if he does violate a civil protection order, he can be charged with criminal charges, which is probably why she opted in for the civil case rather than the criminal case, because it immediately ceases the communication. It stops the harassment, the possible stalking from him. So from this point on, he is legally required to stop talking to her and to stay away from her. And if she would have went the criminal route, it might have taken longer, to the best of my knowledge. So that's probably why she opted in for the civil route, because civil proceedings oftentimes occur at a faster rate than criminal proceedings because there has to be an investigation and et cetera. So I'm going to continue going through these documents. Let me see here. So just an interesting tidbit real quick. Just like a little break, I guess, from like going on between these two. In the court, I guess it was leaked that it said he lost a pretty big chunk of his audience. Um, and basically saying that he just had to pivot to making different types of content because of the loss of his audience from Pinky Chew. In my opinion, he might have been saying this to try to maybe pivot into maybe suing her for, I guess, an actionable loss, maybe. Sorry. What I'm just guessing is maybe, I'm not really sure what brought this about, but this here is just saying that he had to basically start being more political, change his content because he lost a lot of followers after all this came out between him and Pinky Chew. So I guess it's kind of related, but not really. So let's go ahead. Let's start talking about Tectone's, I guess, possible schizophrenia / psychosis. I'm not really sure, but let's go ahead and read it. So the court, and the first line is going to be from the court to the best of my knowledge. It says, "And what therapy are you doing to help reduce your psychosis and allow for better functioning?" Tectone replies, "No therapy, ma'am." Then the court says, "Okay, when was the last time you sought therapy?" And then he replies, "If a registered professional, I don't recall. I don't believe I've ever. Just kind of just checking in with my homies and seeing if I'm okay and talking about my problems. That's about it." All right. "And you told your viewers that you were schizophrenic, correct?" "Yes." "And you, in fact, Tectone, suffer from schizophrenia, is that right?" "If by suffer you mean diagnosed, yes, I wouldn't really consider it suffering." So Tectone does confirm in this civil case that he is diagnosed with schizophrenia. And that right there would honestly be reason enough for any judge, in my opinion, to probably give you a protection order if someone like that's harassing you. Because he basically admits he's unmedicated. People who are schizophrenic are unpredictable when they're unmedicated. It's really alarming that he is willing to admit that he's schizophrenic and unmedicated. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest bit that he got a protection order after reading that. Back to it. Pretty sure this is the court. It says, "Well, who is your mental health provider that tells you this information now?" "My mental health provider is just like a psychiatrist from New York State University back in freshman year." And I just said, "Hey, sometimes I think I see things that aren't there." And he goes, "You're schizophrenic, take these pills." "Well, wait a minute." This is the response by the court. "You said on your stream the court's heard it." "Yeah." "That you were schizophrenic and you have hallucinations once a month. Is that correct?" He responds, "Yeah." "And you were willing, and you were telling this court under oath that you were not seeking mental health treatment for a serious health condition, mental health condition." He responds, "It's very much under control. I mean, the worst that I'll really get is like, like Pinky Chew said, I'll see a face and it's like, it's like it's melting. And you think that's okay to go without medical supervision for that?" He responds, "My experience with medication kind of turned me into a zombie. So I kind of fear medication." And they respond, "And you are aware of the consequence of being an untreated schizophrenic?" He says, "No." They say, "Okay, are you aware that being untreated can lead to worsening psychosis, including hallucinations and delusions?" He responds, "I am sure a more severe case of schizophrenia could actually do that." They respond, "Well, but tell me this, are you a licensed medical professional?" He responds, "No, ma'am." And then they respond, "Okay, so how do you know how serious or not your case of schizophrenia is?" He responds, "I guess it's kind of goofy. There's like this movie called A Beautiful Mind, and so I was like, man, his is messed up and mine is nothing compared to that." So, I hear people who talk to people who aren't there, but I'm just like, what's that? Oh, it's gone. They respond, they respond, "Okay, are you aware that it can lead to chronic, you have neurobiological deterioration from not getting treatment for schizophrenia?" He said, "I absolutely believe that." They respond, "Okay, are you aware that medication therapy can significantly reduce your psychoses and allow for better functioning?" He says, "Yeah, I absolutely believe that." They respond, "Okay, so what medication are you currently taking?" He says, I just take multivitamins and that's all, so nothing." They respond, "Okay, and what therapy are you doing to allow for better functioning to reduce your psychosis?" "No therapy, ma'am." "Okay, when was the last time you sought therapy?" "With a registered professional? I don't recall. I don't believe I've ever. Just kind of, just checking in with my homies and talking about my problems. That's about it." That kind of sounds like what he said earlier.